You are now watching Zach Lesage PTCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin', Pokemon peeps? Welcome back to Zach Lesage PTCG. I'm Zach Lesage, and today we're going to be going over Centiskorch VMAX. Now, I know we've covered this deck a few times on the channel, but my new list, heavily based between Alex Shemansky, Cashman's, Thomas Brophy's list, has been performing extremely well for me at the Players' Cup. I actually finished all my Players' Cup keys at 102. Not the craziest run ever, but I feel like I'm pretty safe to make it into the top 256 to qualify for North America. That being said, this deck did significantly better than most of the other decks that I was experimenting with during this time. So I do want to share that with you, show you the list, and show you some gameplay about this deck. So lots of great content to be expected in this video and for the future of the channel. If you like it, or if you like any other videos, hit that subscribe button, please. On our way to, I don't even know what our next goal is. Let me know in the chat. Is it 1,500, 2,000, bajillion? We're just trying to push this channel as hard as possible, do everything and give back to the community. Anyways, let's jump into the deck, see exactly what it looks like. So if you've been playing Centi for a minute, you might be like, yo, Zach, this is only a few cards off. And I mean, that's fine. I do want to explain why it's a few cards off than what a normal list would look like, why this is beneficial for, let's say, a best of one format, why this is beneficial for the Players' Cup, why this list has strengths, where its weaknesses, etc., etc. So that's really where I'm at. Also, I wanted to let you know, the list is copy and pasteable in the description below. And if you're looking for any of the cards for this deck, any deck, or if you're trying to be a clout master, in some ways like I am, the Galarian Zigzagoons are super awesome, by the way. Great job, whoever designed that card. Go to PTCGO plug-in code ZLesage5. You can also find that code down there as well. You know, I had to get it for the video, right? Anyways, so cool things that I've added into the deck are Cramorant V, I have access to Heatran GX, and I have a third Volcanion. These are things that are not common at all in most Heatran lists. So that's kind of where I'm like, or not Heatran, in Centiskorch list, I'm just looking at Heatran. So the Heatran, the Volcanion, and the Cram are really what make this version particularly different. I don't necessarily think the deck can always rely on playing a boss's orders to bring up that last Pokemon. Cramorant's really great, just to snipe that to DAA GX for game, or checkmating your opponent by having a fully powered Centiskorch in play and having a Cramorant V for game. That's a strategy that I've employed a lot of times during the Players' Cup, and it's been quite beneficial. There's also just beat catch. The Centiskorch, no matter what anyone says, like, I've been one of the OG Centiskorch players, playing it all the way back since Pog, Day 2 Pog with Centiskorch. I've played it for the first Players' Cup, qualified for the first Players' Cup with Scorch, made it all 7-0 through the NA qualifiers with Scorch, and here I am playing Scorch again. Cramorant makes this deck slightly less inconsistent. Welder decks in general are going to be an absolute mess because your draw supporter is the same thing as Hop. It's running off a glorified theme deck engine, so it's the exact same thing. If you had a theme deck with a very powerful attack, the only draw supporter is Hop, and I'm sure these theme decks nowadays are rocking the Professor's Research, the Marnies. Sure, it accelerates energies. Like, Welder is one of the most broken supporters that we have in the game, but it's like a theme deck with Hop, and then you throw in a couple of Denays, a Crobat, make it look pretty. That's literally how Centiskorch sets up most of the time. Luckily enough, you only need like an energy and an attachment on Centiskorch in order to be getting off a huge Gmax and Inferno. Now, there's a lot of non-theme deck cards in here, and this deck's a pretty penny, but I just want to kind of let you know exactly why Cramorant V is good. Crobat V, similar to the DAA GX, is there to help you set up. The 2-2 split allows you to just kind of draw cards throughout the game. I mean, if you ever need to really make a space, I think you can cut a Crobat V, but right now I think adding consistency to this deck is absolutely necessary. I don't want to contradict myself by any means. Zigzagoon, and I mean, this is a pretty Zigzagoon. When you play it from your hand, putting a damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon, it's abusable with a Scoop Up Net Jirachi engine that we have here. So maybe you're just like 10 or 20 damage short with Gmax and Inferno and can't reach that extra energy. Maybe you want to snipe a Crobat V on your opponent's bench or hit something with a high heat blast. i.e. a Zamazenta without a metal goggles. Zigzagoon is definitely helpful there. Maybe you want to hit something and then knock it out on your opponent's turn because you want to strand in the active. It's cool. Centiskorch V is what you have to evolve into your Centiskorch VMAX. So discarding an energy card from this Pokemon, I think just being able to discard an energy from this Pokemon and your opponent's active can be huge, especially against ADP and Eternatus if you are given the chance. Evolving into Centiskorch VMAX, literally the Burning Train, doing 40 plus 40 for each energy and accelerating an energy. Centiskorch VMAX is one of those things where if you could just get it out in play, kind of hitting your opponent just for the base number of 3 to do 120 or 120 damage, yeah. And the next turn you're doing 160. You can take out most tag team Pokemon at 280 damage in a 2-turn hit, and not including a welder, you can always jump back into the game to 2-shot something. So Centiskorch VMAX is incredibly powerful. Heatran GX is a card that you either hate or you love. Right now, I'm not sure where I feel on it. There's a lot of situations where you start with a dead hand and a welder, and I was like, okay, cool, you could welder onto a Crobat V or whatever you want, switch Heatran GX attack for Steaming Stomp. Or if you just have a lot of energies late game, this allows you to scale your energies at 50 times, which is better than Centiskorch VMAX's 40 times. Obviously, it's because this Pokemon's a little bit weaker. You have to have all the energies on it. You can't accelerate energies, etc., etc. But I mean, it has come out in a few spots. I do think it improves the Luke Metal matchup. So I mean, this is kind of like my Giratina spots, where I feel like I get to attack a lot of the Pokemon in their deck, kind of come out of nowhere with the Heatran GX. Other times it feels kind of flat. I don't even know if you need this to beat the Luke Metal matchup that I feel like you beat most of the time. So it's one of those things where as the meta progresses, I might want to cut the Heatran GX, but for the Players' Cup, it felt very good in a lot of random situations. And I don't know if they were just the random situations that I was facing, or if it's just random situations in general. Reshizard here is really just to pull out a 200 out of nowhere. You could run away with games with this type of card, especially if you know your opponent cannot OHKO them. OHKO the Reshiram Charizard GX, that is. Or you could follow it up with a Flare Strike, or just attack with a Flare Strike, go into a Double Blaze. There's a lot of ways that you could just really push like an ADP or a Pikarom player out of the game with this. Come out with a turn 1 200 damage, donking your opponent. Could be absolutely monstrous. Volcanion allows this deck to have a free Decigoons matchup, but mainly it's you want to go second and use Flare Starter, powering up your Pokemon, namely your Centiskorch V, to get a bunch of energies for your Centiskorch V Max the next turn, or Heatran GX. But High Heat Blast is fine against Zacian V. There's a lot of games where I'll just push with a Volcanion because it's a single prize card attacker. You can knock out your opponent's Jirachi, especially as you can build up energy onto your bench, or attach an energy to the active welder onto the bench. Remember to check through your prize cards when you use Flare Starter. It's incredibly important when you're playing a deck like this. You need to know every single resource you have available to you. And I will be posting a video on how to check your prize cards in the channel in the next few days. So depending on when you're watching this video, it's either out or it's coming out. Eldegoss, because we only play 6 supporter cards, you want to have access to be able to search through those powerful supporter cards. Dene GX is very similar to Crobat V, just to diversify between the two abilities. And Jirachi, you want to improve your chances of drawing any of these amazing cards in order to improve your win cons. Got a couple copies of Fire Crystal because we're playing a Jirachi engine. If we were not playing a Jirachi engine, I would just probably boost this up to about 13, 14 counts. 1 copy of Great Catcher because you could rip it off of Jirachi and just punish your opponent for playing a GX Pokemon. Popular GX Pokemon include the Dene GX, Pikarom, you got Mewtwo and Mew, and I'd say ADP. Pokemon Communication, because we are playing an evolution Pokemon in our deck, or a VMAX Pokemon. It evolves, so I don't know what it's considered nowadays. You could search out the Centiskorch VMAX there. You got the 4 copies of Quick Ball. Just search out all your other Pokemon. I mean, Quick Ball is quite often needed because you need a Centiskorch, a Volcanion. Maybe you need to get a draw support Pokemon on your first turn. Could be huge. Quick Ball is obviously just a staple. 1 reset stamp's a little bit low, but it does give you that little sprinkle of salt and pepper seasoning spice to your deck. I don't know how else to explain it. I'd like to play 2 copies. There's a lot of changes that I've made that have taken away the second copy in my deck. It gives me some chances. A lot of the times this card's going to get discarded early game just because it's 1 copy. 4 copies of Scoop Up Net. Obviously, we're playing a Jirachi engine. You want to be able to abuse the Zigzagoon. And of course, there's the Volcanion as well. Switch, so you could switch in and out of Jirachi. Switch in and out of Paralyze with Raichu Alolan Raichu GX. So that's huge. Giant Hearth. Obviously, with Welder, it's going to be pairing quite nicely. You can get energies in your hand, energies in your discard pile. Just energies in general, bumping your opponent's stadiums is huge. Boss, I mean, you could bring up whatever you want to knock out. You can't play Boss and Welder though, so do be careful of that and take notes of what you've done during your turn. And then we have enough fire energies to make the deck kind of roll. So, I mean, pretty much the same as any other Centiskorch VMAX list. I do like the 3rd copy of Volcanion, improving your chances of hitting that natural Flare Starter. This deck does want to go second, like 99% of the time. I honestly cannot find a reason that I want to go first most of the time, even against matchups such as ADP, even against matchups such as Eternatus. I know a lot of other players might say otherwise. I'd rather go with the way that the deck strategy is supposed to go. If I find any better strategies or anything like that, I will totally let y'all know. But a lot of the times you're at the mercy of the coin flip anyways, so I'm not going to necessarily bang my head over situations that my friends might have come up with in a 50-50 scenario that might not always apply to me in my deck. So you want to know what? Let's jump into some gameplay, see exactly what this deck is about. I'm excited to show you exactly what this deck can do, so let's get there. Okay, so let's see this coin flip. We want to see this coin flip saying, you won the coin flip. Our opponent still has an opportunity to go first. And you see, luckily for us, our opponent's going first. Hand's a little bit awkward, but Jirachi is the ideal start because we do have access to Scoop Up Nets. See exactly how things play out here. I don't know why my opponent's so sad. They're just going to go Crobat. Energy switch, probably playing ADP, I think. So I don't know why Pikarom would ever want to go first. If it is Pikarom, that is. We might be able to roll this game with Reshiram and Charizard GX, I think. I'm happy with them discarding their reset stamp. You always want to check the resources. And one thing about Centiskorch, like when you jump into it, you want to kind of have a game plan going in here. Kind of know the cards that are good in a particular matchup. So the fact that this can be knocked out with a Flare Strike plus a damage counter seems really hot. I don't know why my opponent's so sad, but that's okay. I'm actually going to start off here with using Stellar Wish. If I get Giant Hearth, I could just roll. So no access to that. That's fine. That means I'm going to go for the Quick Ball play. Actually, I might want to just go for the Pokemon Communication play. There's probably too many cards that I just have here in my deck. So I'm going to go Pokemon Communication away, a copy of... I don't even know what I want to put away here. I'm going to go Pokemon Communication, a copy away of the Cramorant V for right now. Part of me is also saying that I might want to use Dedenne GX. We want to look through, see what we have prized. I know we have a Dedenne GX prized. I know that we have a Centiskorch VMAX prized. Like, you want to make sure that you're going through your prize cards. There is a copy of Welder prize. There is a copy of Fire Energy prize. Things that could be important. We do have a Volcanion prized. So, I mean, I could go in here with a Volcanion. Volcanion seems fine. I am worried that I might not necessarily get what I want off of Welder. I'm worried that I won't be able to get a knockout. So, yeah, you want to, I'm going to go with the Volcanion. I should be okay. I don't necessarily even have to play Scoop Up Net yet. So, there's the Volcanion. Here's the Welder to the Volcanion. Okay. So, we're in a lot better of a spot than we were a second ago. I am going to go ahead and Scoop Up Net the Jirachi at this point. There's no point in me trying to do anything else because we already got the Welder. We already got the energy. So we're pretty much fine here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach the Centiskorch V. And you can see that your opponent, like when you got a good start, they're just going to concede. Okay, they're the ones who are calling the coin flip. The pressure is off of me, and I lost the flip. What's going to happen? I'm going to have... It seems like I'm having all my opponents decide if they want to go first or not today. And you can see this hand, I don't know how I feel about it. I literally need to top deck something cute for my turn. Because the double welder Eldegoss is something I just can't detonate GX away. The fact that they're going first makes me think they're playing ADP or Luke Metal. Very much seems like an ADP deck. There's their water energy. Maybe they're going to be using Cherish Ball. Yeah. So this is typically a favorable matchup. It's really one of those matchups where as long as I get set up, I should be okay. Again, this is a very poor hand. So I need to top deck like a Giant Hearth and grab a Quick Ball. Or grab a Quick Ball and top deck a Giant Hearth. Top deck a Fire Energy, get a Quick Ball. Like Quick Ball, Pokemon Communication, Fire Energy, Giant Hearth are the cards that I'm looking for. This hand I can't pitch away. Or at least I don't believe I could pitch it away. So they're going in for the switch already. And they found an energy as well. Very powerful turn by our opponent. There's a Fire Energy. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Stellar Wish here. Stellar Wish is certainly failing me. Okay. This is particularly not good. I don't know, again, if I want to pitch this away. Yeah, I'm going to try to get a Welder off. I mean, that certainly was not the worst 3 cards I've ever seen. Okay. I'm going to go Quick Ball, discarding. I don't know if we're ever going to see use of this Eldegoss V. And that's the issue. I can't discard a Fire Energy because I need to attach to a Volcanion. I can't discard a Welder. I mean, I guess I could discard a Welder in case I get a Pokemon Communication next turn. I don't think that's realistic. Eldegoss is going to give me more options. Eldegoss can get played out from a Mawile. I'm going to discard the Eldegoss just because our opponent does play Mawile. So sometimes you're going to be put in a tough situation. Try to come up with some reasoning within the 15 seconds that goes with your gut feeling. Let's see what we're dealing with here. I mean, we still have access to our other 2 Welders, so whatever. Let's just treat it as if we have 2 Welders that are our bottom left and right prize cards that we just don't know where they are. And because some of these lists play Fiona, I am going to put the Jirachi down, and I'm going to go ahead and Flare Starter to the Centiskorch V on the bench. There's a lot of cool things that can now happen in this matchup. I know our opponent's going to go off for the Altered Creation GX. I think it's... If I'm not able to get off... Well, the Crushing Hammer is absolutely going to blow here. That part certainly sucks. Okay. That being said, since my opponent plays Crushing Hammers in their ADP list, I need to just kind of regroup, see exactly what's going on here. Really top decking the other Welder. We are getting punched while we are down, everyone. Let's go Dedenne GX. We literally have to pitch that away. That just hurts. And the fact that we have the other one there too is not particularly helpful. I honestly think we just go Heatran GX down. I think that's literally the best option that we have here. Heatran GX goes down. I attach an energy to the active Pokemon. And then I'm going to go Crobat V goes down to draw some more cards. Maybe we get a Giant Hearth. Did not find a Giant Hearth at all. I think attacking here might be correct. It's a... They're going to hit for enough damage. 110. I think it's better to attack with the Volcanion here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to attack with the Volcanion. If I attack with the Centiskorch, they're going to hit me off with an ultimate ray anyways. This game is just how the deck can crumble sometimes. And Centiskorch will crumble. There's a lot of times where Centiskorch is going to feel like a bad deck. There's a lot of times where... Centiskorch usually prevails in most cases. Maybe not particularly in this video, but definitely do some of your own testing when it comes to this deck. Yeah, your opponent's just one card away from making this all happen. They're a single boss orders away from winning the game at this point. I don't know what they think that I had in this hand that was so good, but... So a third energy, that's 160. Really not particularly the best start here. I'm trying to think of how I'm going to be able to claw my way back in here. I think I'm going to have to attack with the Volcanion, to be honest. Volcanion push with Centiskorch afterwards. So... probably could have sent up the Jirachi there, to be honest. But that's okay. There's really, like, I don't even know what else I'd be searching for at this point. Take away the one with 3 energies. Now, if the opponent has a boss, we lose the game. And they just have it. There's nothing that could have done. So, otherwise, a favorable matchup, but just not going to work out for us today in this video. Okay, call another coin flip. This is the most difficult part of the deck, is trying to get to go second. And I mean, I'm not doing so great in this video. I keep on losing these coin flips, but that's okay. And look, our opponent magically is going first. So this is where things get weird. You might want to. I want to start here with the cool Zigzagoon because I do have access to scoop up nets. It's much better than taking away a potential draw option with the Crobat. So we'll see exactly what's good over here. What our opponent's playing. The only 2 decks that I really know that want to go first are, well, there's 3 categories. Are ADP, Decigoons, some other random evolution decks, and uninformed players for the most part. I find that that's typically the thing, especially in a blind meta. And E-Turn is definitely not a deck that wants to go first, or it doesn't necessarily want to blindly go first. So I'm not sure exactly what the whole deal is there. Maybe the Poison Eternatus, they're just trying to set up things. This is a particularly rough matchup for what it's worth. But that's okay. So we're not really drawing into the cards that we want to draw into. And that's not good. And this is where, like, this is what I'm saying, like, as the deck can just get inconsistent. So let's go Quick Ball, discarding, I think Switch is the first card that I want to get rid of. Or maybe Fire Crystal in this case. I don't necessarily think I'm going to see Fire Crystal. Actually, I'm going to go for Boss Orders. Bank that in the discard pile for an Aldegos. I might actually go for a Jirachi here because I could go switch, kind of with Jirachi. So I can go switch, scoop up net, switch. Do I want to go Crobat to draw 3 cards? I think I can do one more Jirachi before I do that. So I'm going to go Jirachi number 1. And the scoop up net part does not help too much. But we do have access to the scoop up net at the end, so that part's cute. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go scoop up net onto the Jirachi. Send this down. Is it better for me to use scoop up net or is it better for me to use switch? I think I'm just going to use the switch at this point. Okay, so nothing off of that. So I'm going to be able to draw an extra card. Will I be able to get set up here? Well, I mean, it's certainly Interesting. I don't necessarily know if I want to go all in with this type of hands. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to attach the energy to the Centiskorch V because I can take away the energy. I'm going to go in with the Centiskorch strategy. There's nothing that I can guarantee, and I have used a lot of switch scoop up net cards. So I am going to put the Jirachi down, and I'm pitching this hand away. This is why Crobat and DAA are very important. So that's a very interesting hand. Here I'm going to go ahead, Radiating Heat. Maybe I could buy myself a turn. But as you can see, like, this is the type of inconsistency that the deck will deal with. And this is not like an average hand or anything like that, but it does particularly suck. Okay, so they have the free retreat. They can make us poisoned with the Galarian Slowbro. I mean, I literally needed a DAA GX or a way to find a DAA GX. So there's like 3 Pokecoms, 3 Quick Balls, and a Jirachi. So I have a 7 out of 34. And my opponent's just going to go ahead and Marnie. Okay. I'm very interested in this. Still a dead hand for what it's worth. Well, a hand with an Eldegoss and a Welder is great. There's no Giant Hearth in play. Jirachi didn't really find too much in the process. So they're going to go ahead and poison us, which I mean, I think is probably the correct choice. It was a 10 damage. Will I top deck a Giant Hearth? No. So this is really one of those games where I don't necessarily think it's worthwhile to continue on. I'm going to take some poison damage or they're going to knock me out. It doesn't seem worthwhile. I mean, I guess I could play out another turn since it's not going to matter. I can get the Centiskorch V down. I can put the Jirachi down. The only issue is the amount of support that we've lost in the process to get to the point where we're at. So by no fault of our own, we were forced to be non-conservative to our hand. You can see resource, and we weren't drawing well with the Jirachi. We weren't drawing well with the DAA GX. We had to go through so much, and we are basically nowhere. So our opponent's going to be able to take a prize card here. So if I can't get anything off the Jirachi, such as a Giant Hearth to continue my hand, the DAA GX to continue my hands, this game's absolutely over, and Eternatus is just going to stone and bone us. So there's a Scoop 'em Net. That's card 1. Will I be able to find a Giant Hearth? No. I mean, again, I can try here. So I can go this, putting Eldegoss back because that's the most valuable resource. I can grab out a DAA GX. I can go Scoop 'em Net on the Jirachi. At this point, I don't even know if it's worthwhile to put another Jirachi down. That is we've used 5 of our resources there. I don't know. Maybe I'll just put it down. It probably doesn't matter. Like I don't know. And we're gonna go to DAA GX to try to get a chance here again. And you can see there's just nothing here that is really working. Even if I grabbed like the Eldegoss, I would only be attaching 2 energies this turn. Hit for 120. I could follow that back up with a knockout next turn, but forcing my Welder again on the same thing. So I'm going to give our opponent the correct, just whatever. All of their Pokemon have free retreat. I mean, I guess I could bring up their Eternatus VMAX on the bench because our opponent did make that mistake. If they don't have access to a hiding dark energy, or if they don't have access to a switch, then I might be able to just build up a Centiskorch VMAX. That's the last line of play that I think I'm going to play to. I'm not one to usually concede games, but for this sake, it just doesn't necessarily make sense to continue on with a game that is so far gone. And I mean, play out your games. I'm able to identify win cons or shut off win cons as I play Pokemon. I have a decent bit of experience. I recommend to anyone who's watching this video, and there's a switch, they're going to hit me for 270. There's no world in this game where I could even get back. So I'm going to tell my opponent well played, and then I'm going to concede this game. Okay, I'm going to call tails here. We won the coin flip. Let's go. Would we like to go first? No. Actually, for one Player's Cup key, I accidentally pressed it because it sounded so tempting. I wasn't paying attention at all, and just was just like it just didn't go my way. Okay, this is a bit of an awkward start. Obviously, I think it's much better to start with Cramorant here, because Dedenne GX would be a shame to start with. I think my opponent, they're either playing ADP or they're playing Luke Metal. Yeah, that's definitely ADP. When you see the water, you know. Definitely draw an extra one. I don't know why we keep on drawing in all these Crobats and Dedenne combos. So, not particularly the hand that I'm looking for. Oh, they're going Big Charm in. Okay, I'm fine with my opponent discarding some resources there. That's pretty hot. Giant Hearth not being able to get played. They always got the Giant Hearth. Or they always get the Chaotic Swell when you want to play Giant Hearth. Okay, so they only got the 1 energy. That's not too bad. Oh no, that's actually terrible. The reason why it's terrible is because I'm going to have to pitch his hand away. So first things first, before I discard anything, one of those cards is going to get discarded. There is one left in the deck. I'm going to go for a Volcanion play here. I think Volcanion's the best way for me to deal with this. I am going to bump their stadium so I have access for next turn. I am going to switch into this. Maybe I can get a Pokemon Communication. That's my big hope. I did not find it at all. Okay, so I'm going to go Quick Ball away this. Search my deck for a Centiskorch V. Nothing else that I really want to play down there, so I'm going to go ahead and Dedenne GX. Goodbye. Double Centiskorch VMAX this turn. Apparently we're really good at finding them, though. And there's an energy. I'm not really worried about a knockout here. So I'm just going to go ahead and Flare Starter. 1, 2, 3. We're all basically powered up for the Centiskorch VMAX to knock out their ADP the following turn. Because 6 energies plus the base 40 does 280 on the ADP. So depending on what our opponent does here, should be in a pretty good spot. And they're going to go Marnie. So there goes the Centiskorch VMAX. At least we have Pokemon Communication to be able to search it out. If we were able to be, if we could draw into that, I guess. That is a particularly weaker hand than what we had before. And of course, they're going to Mawile us. So they know exactly what we're going to top deck. They know exactly what's going to happen here. Yeah, and we're bench locked. I mean, we could always go Scoop Up Net. That's completely fine. We're going to have to go Scoop Up Nets, switch. I don't even know if... Yeah. And then get Giant Hearth. I feel like the best chance here, it would have been nice to get any kind of Fire Crystal, Giant Hearth there. I feel like the best opportunity is maybe waiting out another turn, going Radiating Heat, taking away their opportunity to maybe use Ultimate Ray. So that's my defensive mechanism. We got Marty into nothing. Let's play it out as much as possible, right? Now, our opponent with the energy switch, doing quite well there. Maybe they'll play another Marnie for us. Probably not. They know our hand's pretty dead. If they don't find the water energy, we're probably in a good spot. I don't know what the Eldegoss is for. Oh, they already played. Sorry, they already played. It was the Dedenne GX, not at research. Now I understand. Crushing Hammer probably doesn't matter too much there. If they miss the water energy, which it looks like they did, we're in a pretty good spot. The Big Charm makes it a little bit awkward, but we'll see what I'm able to top deck here. Pokemon communication is definitely not the worst thing in the world. I think I'm forced to go here for like a Dedenne, if we have one. Or maybe a Crobat? Yeah, I'm going to go for a Crobat. Okay, this is really not the worst. I'm not going to discard a Pokemon. I am actually just going to discard a Welder. So I'm going to discard a Scoop Up Net. There's nothing that I could Scoop Up Net. So let's Welder there. Okay, we're rolling in the Pokecom. So 280. I'm actually going to need another energy. So I'm going to have to waste one, but that's fine. I will be able to get the knockout. My opponent did not get off the Ultimate Ray, so I only have to really worry about the Zacian V. So there's G-Max on Inferno. Now, if they attack into my active, I feel pretty confident that I'm going to be able to win this game. If they attack my bench, they very well could win this game with Mawile GX. So, fingers crossed that they don't have the boss's orders. Just gotta hope. It was an awkward game. Yeah. I mean, my goal here is to now find a reset stamp. Yeah, I don't think there's much else. This is just going to survive, so nothing else really matters. It's not really about my active Pokemon, it's more about my bench Pokemon. So reset stamp is reasonably the best card that I could ever play down. I'm going to go ahead here and go Welder to, in case anything were to ever happen, I have access to checkmates. I don't necessarily think anything else matters here. There's a Heatran GX, there's a Zigzagoon. We're not going to be able to draw into a Scoop Up Nets, Jirachi. So they either have it or we have it. Again, missing that bit of a slow start when the opponent Marnied. That's okay. For the instructional purposes of this video, or for the enjoyability, that's how Pokemon's going to work out sometimes. Being one turn off from winning the game by no fault of your own, it is what it is. Now, we'll see. So there's the Mawile, there's the boss, and they forgot about resistance. So, I mean, I guess I also forgot about resistance too. We were able to take that game. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you're like, what can we do? That's, I guess, you just roll with it sometimes. Things might not always be as they seem. And that's what you get when you're playing Centiskorch VMAX sometimes. Some of these games I was dealing with poor hands, poor variants. Sometimes I was dealing with amazing hands, or my opponent would just concede to me. There's actually a few other games that I had where my opponent conceded to me very early on in the game that I couldn't put into the video because it was just like, I guess they drew an opening hand and our hand was very good. And that's what happens when you're a YouTube Pokemon YouTuber, Poketuber. You'll have a game where you're like, okay, I finally got a good hand, and your opponent just scoops you, and you're like, come on. So, Centiskorch VMAX, overly powerful deck, overly inconsistent deck, but it did get me my most keys for the Players' Cup 3. I've since moved on back to Eternatus VMAX. You can check out my past Eternatus VMAX videos on the channel. If you want to check those out, my list is very similar. I haven't covered Centiskorch in a minute, so I wanted to cover it off. Just to let everyone know, like, I pushed the foot on the gas when it came to Centiskorch. Did well for me. In the Players' Cup, maybe it could do well for you. Any last minute information as we approach the last week of the Players' Cup hopefully would help all y'all qualify. I appreciate y'all watching this video up until this point. I really, the support and the messages and everything coming through lately has been tremendous, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I truly do. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It would totally mean the world to me as we approach our next milestone, I guess, of 1,500 subs. So let's try to get there, peeps. But yeah, I gotta go create some more content. I'm actually, I'm gonna be playing in the GG Tour Regionals immediately after this video. So doing that, creating some more content later on today, but I gotta peace out. So I'll catch up with all y'all next time. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great one. Bye. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. If you haven't already, it'd mean the world to me if you could subscribe to help support me as a content creator. Thanks again, and have yourself a great one.